I'm Mitch Garvis with SWMI Consulting Group. Today we're going to create a virtual machine using the Hyper-V in Windows Server 8 Beta. We open the Hyper-V Manager from the Tools menu at the top. First we're going to create a new virtual network, or a virtual switch as it's now called. We're going to choose an external type so that it will be able to connect to the Internet, and we're going to call it SWMI External. In our notes, we're going to give a descriptive message so that we'll understand and fellow administrators will understand what the purpose of this network card is, even though in this server it's going to be very simple with a single physical NIC. We notice that we can either allow the operating system to share the network adapter or not, as well as enable VLAN tagging. I'm going to click Apply and this is going to create a network disconnect for a couple of seconds because we are adjusting the settings on the network connection to which I am connected. Don't worry, it will come back in a moment. After a brief delay, it's back, and I click OK. I can now create my virtual machine. Hyper-V Manager looks very similar to what it did before, even though there are some new additions. I'm going to use the new Virtual Machine Wizard. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to name my virtual machine, something very simple for this particular demo. You'll notice that the location is the default location that I set in the Hyper-V Manager. This is a change. In Assign Memory, I can now select Use Dynamic Memory for Virtual Machine, and I'll be able to configure that properly later. I'll configure my network to connect to the virtual network that we just created, and I'll make sure that my hard drive is created. Notice it's a VHDX file, which is the new file format. I'm going to limit this to 64 gigabytes. I don't see a need for a 2 terabyte drive for this demo. I'm going to decide to connect a operating system ISO file right now because I've already stored those files in my D drive under ISOs. Here's the ISO for Windows Server 2008 R2 SP1. I see my summary, it's exactly what I want. I'm going to configure everything and it's ready to go. Now before I start the virtual machine, I'm going to go into the settings of the virtual machine by right-clicking and clicking Settings and just check a few things. We can see the BIOS, and under memory, rather than assigning it up to 2 terabytes of RAM, I'm going to cap that at 2 gigabytes, a little more reasonable for what I plan to use this machine for. Although I can go up to 32 virtual processors, the physical server that I'm installing it on has only one single quad core, so that's the limit of virtual CPUs I have. I see that the ISO file that I connected is still connected. My network is properly configured, so I'm going to click OK. Oh, before I do that, I am going to change in integration settings. I'll turn off the time synchronization. I prefer to assign that by group policy object and not synchronizing to the host server. I'm going to start the virtual machine. Then I'm going to open the virtual machine connection tool. And in my virtual machine connection, which I'm going to bring up so you can see some things at the bottom, it's going to start running Windows installation because it's booted from the DVD. That's our demo, and thanks for watching.